Greetings, our dear viewers from wherever you're watching from the world. Uh, this is Simon Praise, and I bring to you another powerful episode. And last time I was talking about my testimony. Now God delivered me from deep darkness, from the Queen of the Sea. And today I come with another wonderful episode, and I promise you're going to enjoy this. Let us have a short prayer as we begin this journey. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this beautiful moment. We invite you to come in our midst and speak and be in this moment, Lord. Fill it with abundance of your mysteries, your word, your knowledge, that we may be enlightened in this journey. Lord, King of glory, take over. Amen. Wherever you'll be watching from, I bring you greetings once again. I'm Simon Price from Uganda, and I created this channel purposefully for someone who is out there and is in need of some wonderful information. And I'll be sharing a lot of information, and trust me, you're going to enjoy. From the last episode when I was here talking about my journey and talking about the Queen of the Sea, the marine spirit that came in my life and tormented me, made me lose everything I had, and I went back to zero. I want to begin from where I stopped from my journey after she had now come. I want to give just a recap of what I was talking about last time, as I was telling you how now she had already come in our midst. She's part of the team now. We are training her. She has become our friend. Now we are moving with this person. What was now the next step after the enemy achieving the first gate of now having a platform is amidst us? The next step, as I'll be breaking the story to help someone understand, is that when the enemy gets amidst, sometimes they use spies, they get information, they have now found their way in your life. They begin now to manipulate your thoughts. They begin what I am calling mind bending. How can the enemy bend your memories, bend whatever you know, to make sure that when he begins to take your soul in a deep sleep, you cannot resist? Many people are initiated not because they are willing. There are very many unwilling souls that find themselves captives in the kingdom of darkness, and they don't know. Maybe it may be someone gave you a shoe that is accursed. Anything that is accursed or that is devoted and dedicated to another spirit, when you get it, you enter into its covenant, and you using it in your life, maybe a shoes, maybe a shirt, it means that you are subscribing to the altar that owns it. So when this lady finally finds a way into our lives, we are eating together, we are moving together every now and then. That means that information that used to come around, she could know what is happening in our lives, and now began to plan on how to manipulate my mind. She told my friend that she's not interested in her. And then after a while, she began showing so much concern for me. And my friend noticed that, Simon, the signals that this lady is showing, it shows that she's interested in you. And I was like, now we were all men working together. No, and then when you see someone showing, then we said, okay, let us see. And then also our partner in New York was much interested in this girl. And everything was all about this person. So even when you want to push her from the program, she was already connected with the president of the organization in New York, and happened to love this lady so much. So when we saw that things were going that direction, we said, okay, we decided now to continue training them and then always engaging them in different meetings. So when that happened, this lady now was engaging me so much, asking me multiple questions, asking me multiple things. These questions came because she wanted to know how deep I was. So one day, as we were talking with this person, I discovered that she's hiding some information. Like someone who came amidst and is trying to show that she is not so much educated, knowledgeable. And then I was like, okay. But then when I tried to make some research, my spirit was not comfortable with the information she had given us. Then one day I happened to land on some of her videos on TikTok. And then I happened to go on Facebook. And then I watched her previous lifestyle when it was completely different from how she was trying to show things whenever we were talking with her. So in me, in my life, I knew there was something strange about this person. She's duplicating her life. She's trying to show a life that is not. So I told my friends, I said, look here, there may be something wrong with this person. When we look at the previous video, she's actually doing things that she was so big, first of all. And this time around, she was so tiny, but in the previous months, she has been so big. So we were like, look here, she's talking like this. When she's talking, we were seeing videos with when she's with other whites, other people, as a what, meaning that she has been in the corporate world and she understood how to navigate relationships, talking with people, and working with different people. So that very evening, I had multiple thoughts going through my mind. So, and then I said, okay, let me go since she's just nearby where we were staying. That evening, I went to a place and I was trying to ask an investigator, and I said, please, Alice, tell us, what is this happening? You are trying to duplicate your life. Who are you? And then when she looked at me, she was like, oh, you also on TikTok? You have also how did you so I didn't know how she came to know that I got this information from TikTok or what. By then I was not suspecting her to be that much spiritual, but then she was, you know. And then she was like, no, 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 Simon. No, in the past, she was now trying to tell me stories that before now she came in that church, she was working for a charity organization in Danida. And then she happened to meet these different people. And then because she noticed that I was suspecting something strange about her, then she immediately flamed up a story. She told me about a gentleman who was trying to initiate her into the kingdom of darkness. That since when she came to Uganda, there was no way she could survive. So there was always a gentleman who came and was trying to talk a lot of things to convince her to buy her thoughts, to buy her to come into the kingdom of darkness that she resisted. So she brought up so many excuses, and I was like, okay, now I can understand. She almost cried when she was trying to show me that kind of life, you see. And then she told me about how she wanted to go and almost, you know, kill herself, commit suicide, because everything in her life had become so disgusting and, upside down. So I was like, okay, but then it's looking so strange because the past few months you are displaying and manifesting and exhibiting a different lifestyle. How comes that now you are living a different life from that which you were living? How come that your understanding in the previous months is is of someone of a high intelligent quotient than how you are thinking now? So I went back home after that conversation, And then I told my friends what she told me. But immediately she understood that I have now begun doing some investigations. Everything now was, this speed increased. When the enemy comes in your life to take you into the kingdom of darkness, some souls are taken willingly, some are taken unwillingly. But information about you and about the individual taking you is very key in the kingdom of darkness. That's why they are very secretive, because we have the secret society, we have the Freemasons, we have the occults. All these people, all their attacks, they base on information they get from the people that they come across. So the enemy cannot come in your life to defeat you without getting information. Information to them is key. And that's why when she knew that she was coming for this attack, she had to hide her profile, her previous information, because I was not the only person she had put down. There were very many, and most of them were men of God, pastors with big churches that she had gunned down. She was an expert in what she was doing, and in all she was doing, she was so smart, and she was trying to pray around our minds such that we cannot get to understand what is happening amidst us. So now when this came up, remember, she had turned out my friend, and then she was trying to show that she's interested in me. So my friends and me, they began to see something. Themselves, they began to express their own attitudes that they were no longer interested in helping this person. But now, to my side, it was okay for me to continue mentoring her, training her. But now, division began to erupt. My friends are becoming hesitant, and it seems to this girl is getting much closer to me. The more she became closer to me, the further my friends began to distance. My colleagues, my workmates, they began to say, Simon, something is wrong. Wrong. I remember it was that very moment that they began to tell me, ever since this person came in our midst, we are losing Simon. We are losing connections. Finances are low. Something in our lives is to do with this person. But because I was becoming blinded, I wanted to help the person. She was always telling me her issues, her problems, and then I felt like we don't need to let her go in this moment. And I know there are very many people out there. When the enemy wanted to take over Israel, when Prophet Balaam in Numbers 23 failed to cast the nation of Israel, in the book of Revelation, chapter 2, verse 14, the Bible says that talks about what we call the doctrines of Balaam. The doctrines of Balaam, they are brought in our lives with the purpose of introducing veils. That's why there are very many people that are still in captivity of religion, of the spirit of religion. Because when the enemy comes to attack, he comes with doctrines. Sometimes they are doctrines of sympathy, pity, just to make you feel pity for them. Sometimes their doctrine is of investigating your mind. Sometimes their doctrine is of understanding how you live your life, your social life, and how this happens in your life. Information about you. I know people love talking. I know very many people in the world. When you find strangers, people you do not know more about, and you open up your life, the enemy begins to see where he can build his kingdom. Because what was now the target of this person? He had won a place in my life, and He won it by dividing. And that's why one of their strategies is rule and divide. For him to make sure that my mind is every now and then thinking about this person. How can we help? Coming closer to me, gaining much space in your life. Every time they are coming to gain much space, every time they obtain space in your life, that means that there is something that you are now not giving that much time to. You begin to pay attention to this person. I know there are many husbands. You get a strange girl on the street, you begin to date. The first thing they do, anyone carrying these spells, people, they love princess treatment actually. Even when they come in there in your midst, in your life, they love always outings, datings. They want you to take them out. This person always wanted that time because every now and then she could come wants time, wants you to treat them with a lot of care. And then anyone you see, most girls today who love princess treatment, they have marine spirits that are busy deploying thoughts and theories on how to extract to deal with men and people. And when this was happening along that time of now gaining time in our space, now that she has gained that space in our lives, we are now every now and then having meetings concerning this person. But even in our meetings, we cannot come up with absolute conclusions because now, even when she's there at her home, her spirit was still stuck in her house. The enemy, because she was an entity of many spirits, when the enemy wants to bend your mind, he can deploy spirits that begins to speak in your mind. And sometimes we may think this was our own decision is for it to be persuaded to accept her in our space. It is power. For it, because I remember when we were interacting with this person for a very first time, I had a certain smell that I did not like. There was something from her spirit that made my spirit, you know, become hesitant to help this person. But because my friend was interested and he was not so committed to a godly life, he was so excited about ladies, the enemy used this to cast arrows and spells in our lives. And the more she came in our lives, the more that smell began to vanish because even my spirit was getting entangled in a spirit. The kingdom of darkness, when they come, entities, there is a certain smell in their spirits. You see, like how a dead person smells, there is a certain smell. That's why most people that come from the pit of hell, they use strong perfumes to obstruct people from now coming in contact with this demonic smell. And that's why they use a lot of perfumes. You see women you dating and they have strange smells, care about their smells. Because even their smells carry, they carry, they carry, they are used in trapping your souls, such that when you give them your hug, the first time you hug them, you shake hands with them, it's like now someone taking your fingerprints. For them to be effective, every cloth they put on has an assignment. Every smell they put on has an assignment. Every word they speak, every verse, every theory they bring has a certain region. they have a certain realm they unlock to come in your life and be introduced in your midst. That is what happens. So being sensitive to demonic smells, being sensitive, because the more we began making this person our friend, even address code changed. When she's coming to us, she dresses like a princess. I'm telling you. When she goes to church, she puts on a long dress. But when she was coming to our offices to attend these meetings, she made sure that she puts on very tight miniskirts, that she can show everything that is on display. You know, she can exhibit whatever she had packaged now, and our eyes always say, "Oh, now you've dressed it to kill." She's like now coming in on a show, a fashion show. But remember, everything she was putting on had a message. Every conversation she was bringing every day to make us get attracted to her had a doctrine, had a message. So the doctrine is of Balaam, the false prophet. The doctrines of false prophets that come in your life, the doctrines of the princess of darkness that are deployed to come in your life, they carry spells, they carry spirits that the more you give them space, the more they can convince your mind. Don't think you're too strong. Don't think you have enough defensive walls and mechanisms that you can push away from these people unless you're absolutely careful and your spiritual discernment is very high. That is how you can detect them. But when they come, because now remember, she was a principality, she was an entity. She had taken over the church where where people were coming, the church that was praying, she was now taking over the area. I remember someday we were walking with this person, and every man was looking on her. Everyone was like, "Oh my God!" And I will never forget always what she told me. She told me that I am unresistible. No one can look at me and resist me. And even fellow women were like, "Oh, that is beautiful." Because she was a queen who was now having a demonic ring, that every time she puts on this ring, they are given what we call demonic attraction. And when you look at them, you feel so attracted to them. You feel so attracted to talk to them. You feel so attracted, maybe sympathy, to give them your money. And the more you give them your money, the more you give them your items, the more they trap your soul. It may be as simple that that fellowship we were having with this person, with this spirit, that is a fellowship that was now conceiving more darkness in our lives. And the more she was, and these things were happening so fast. Remember, she came in late January 2022, and now we entered Feb, and the programs began to become so rapid and rapid and rapid. And I remember one day, she told me in the morning she was so bitter. She was full of bitterness and she was not feeling happy. So she had gone somewhere. And then she sent me a message and she said, "Simon, you love me?" We had now been talking and working together and all this. Now she brings another phase. She wants to take the affair. She wants to take the friendship. She wants to take that. She had now finally, first of all, she had analyzed who I was, how I was doing things, and she realized that now things began to look like they are compatible. We can, when you be with someone and you've been working with someone and you feel, she's a lady, you're a gentleman, something can happen. So when she realized I had begun to become so comfortable with her, she asked me that question. And then when she asked me that question, I was like, oh, I'm not sure. Maybe I like you. And then when she realized now I had begun now falling in for her, my God, the speed increased. And now the style changed because now she had now attained a certain portion of my life. And she knew at this point I can defend her. Since I had begun expressing or manifesting symptoms of one who can be in love with her, who can date her, who can be a lover. And then when she realized this is happening, she came up with another program now. She said, you know, Simon, always I have been yearning to help young people. And I was thinking of making an organization to help young people. Please, can you help me? Can you join me? Can you do this with me? So, in the next episode, we are going to begin from there. What happened? What exactly happened? How are things moving on? Did Isha successfully get the organization? I'm going to tell you about how we went to a community gathering people, telling them about this program. How I began now changing now that we're looking for donors, looking for people. In the next part, you're going to enjoy how I now turned away from my own organization to pursue another person's business. And that is always happening. So, in the next part, in the next episode, do not miss out. You are going to learn a lot, and always make sure you subscribe, you like, you tell someone, the same time, the same hour, always be active and watch this episode. I thank you so much for being part of this, and I know you're going to learn a lot and a lot. And allow me to tell you, always, as a young person, wherever you are, or you are old, or you are what, write these things down. I know some of the things I'm telling you, one day you'll be in the same situation. You need this information. You need to understand the detective mechanisms and ideas on how to address. You may not be so spiritual, but understanding that when these symptoms begin to manifest, there is something reacting. There is a demonic reaction in the laboratory of the kingdom of darkness. There is a chemical they are cooking for you. Make sure that you are taking. The moment you understand this information, the moment you begin to put things together, I'm telling you, you'll be absolutely enlightened. The reason why Jesus came and said, my people perish because of lack of knowledge. When knowledge comes, it enlightens you. It gives you various versions on how to do life. And I know wherever you'll be watching, as you get this information, you can never be the same. You can never be the same as you are part of this program. I always love you and encourage you to stay tuned and active and write and research as we dive deeper in this information. This is the same situation which happened now to David. Why do you wonder a king who was now during his free time on his balcony, relaxing? What happened really? That when he gazed at Bathsheba, something began, a voice began to speak, something began to change. Just in a moment of time, a David who loved God, and David is making a decision, to commit adultery, to commit a sin of adultery. How the sin of adultery triggered murder, bloodshed in his life. And just this one step he took turned the entire kingdom into a mess. The next verses in the book of Samuel, what happened? There is a lot of chaos that took place in this man's life simply because he never understood, simply because understanding how the kingdom of darkness do project projections, how astrologers cast visions and evil thoughts in your mind. is very key. And this is why I'm here for you to understand the cosmic world, for you to understand the cosmos, for you to understand the kingdom of darkness, for you to understand many issues that happen in the kingdom of darkness. And by the end of this program, you'll never be the same. I love you. See you again. Be blessed. Be